Hi beautiful, welcome to my channel. In today's video we're reviewing a new Too Faced palette, and that is the Too Faced Italian Spritz palette right here. I have seen a little bit of buzz on this one on the internet, and you guys know that I am here to give you the brutally honest review on this one. When I'm paying $54 for an eyeshadow palette, I expect the shades to be very pigmented, I expect the shimmers to shine, I expect the formula to blend out good, I expect things to not be overly powdery, etc. So we are going to be talking about all of those things with this Italian Spritz palette and determine whether or not it's worth it. If anyone is interested in the palette, please shop the palette using the link down in the description box below. But before you do, let's see whether or not it is actually worth it. So if you're excited for today's video, don't forget to please give it a thumbs up and let's go ahead and get started. Let's begin the video by acknowledging the fact that I did my hair for you. Don't get used to it. I am going to pull it back because we have a palette to review, and let me show you the packaging of this one. You guys briefly saw it in the intro section. It looks like a very springy type palette. It says Lake Como cocktail inspired eyeshadow palette, and then in the back of the box, this is what you see. I'm looking for the little jar that points to expiration date. Not that it matters to me much when it comes to eyeshadow palettes, because I will use my eyeshadow palettes till the death of time. But it doesn't really say when this palette expires here. I don't see the little jar that says 12 or 24 months or anything like that, but I am very excited about the fact that this palette says it is made in Italy. Now you guys know Italian eyeshadow formulas are known to be creamy and rich and pigmented, so my expectations on this one are now even higher. Let me show you the actual packaging of the palette. It is a little tin palette. Here is the back side of it, and once you open it, take a look right here at the absolutely stunning color story. I really hope these colors perform well, and I really love the names of all of the shades. Now I'm very curious about this palette and where it was made, because I did not like this one at all. So the Too Faced Better Than Chocolate one says that it was bulk made in the USA, assembled in the Dominican Republic. So they are made by different manufacturers. I'm very excited about the formula of this one. I really hope that it is good. Let's go ahead and go on with the swatches. This looks so freaking beautiful. I don't even want to touch it. So let's go ahead and start with row number 1 here. I have to say that the shimmers already feel very different from the shimmers from that chocolate palette I mentioned. Anyways, let's go on with the swatches. Here is Holy Cannoli, Ciao Bellini. Oh my god, yes. They're not sparkly, but you can definitely see the intensity of the shine of those shimmers. This other matte is called When in Rome, and it's kind of like a satiny type of matte. Take a look right there. I went back over the matte shades a bit so that they would look better, and then the 4th shade is called Take Me to Church. Right here, the last 2 shades of the first row are Feeling Saucy, Very Creamy, and Lake Como. So just take a look right here at the first row swatched, and already this is an improvement from that other formula they had in the past, because the shimmers in that chocolate palette were not creamy at all. So let's go on with row number 2. So we have Toasted in Tuscany here, the color Ching Ching, I think that's how you say that, and then Spritz and Glitz. Toasted in Tuscany is a really nice transition-y type shade. This is a bronzy shimmer, very creamy bronzy shimmer, yes. We have Spritz and Glitz next, which is a really nice pink shimmer, and Spaghetti About It, which is a more mid-tone brown type of a shade. Then we have a gold shade called Grappa Don't Preach, and Espresso Yourself, which is this cool tone matte color that looks really nice. I'm very excited about the first 4 shades of the last row because they are all colorful and fun. So first we have Lake and Bake, which is a blue teal type of a color. Look at how good those shimmers are. Okay, then we have Capri Fun, which is this like mustardy yellow shade. Mamma Mia, which is a burgundy, you know I'm here for that one. and Camo After Dark, which is a black shimmer. Lastly, we have Impastable, which is this warm brown shade, and I don't have space for this last one, so I think I'm gonna put it like all the way up here, but this is the last color, and it is called Gelato. Take a look right here at the beautiful swatches of this palette. Like I said, so far so good. I'm impressed. The shimmers are creamy and they are pigmented. The mattes look like they're very buildable and also blendable. So very impressed so far. The color story is different for Too Faced because they put a lot of like pops of color that actually stand out, but then they also have your nice natural neutral shades that you can combine with those pops of color to create looks that are fun but maybe not too out of like majority of people's comfort zones. So I'm liking it so far. Let me go ahead and clean my hand and we'll do a couple of looks with this one, maybe 3, we'll see. Let's begin the first look with the shade Gelato down here. And I'm using this shade as a base for the first eye look. This would be a good inner corner shade if you want to use matte colors only. And also a really good matte to put right underneath your brow if you want to highlight up there. Look at how much brighter this eye look is in comparison to this one. With the same brush, I'm going into the color Lake and Bake. And this is going to be my transition shade for look number 1. With my REPHR number 15, I'm just swiping it back and forth all throughout the crease of my eye. And I'm stamping a bit more of that color on the outer third of my eyelid. Switching to a smaller blending brush, I'm going to get on the color Espresso Yourself. By the way, the shade I just used was Toasted in Tuscany. I am not used to the fact that these palettes have the shades on top rather than underneath, so I'm reading the wrong name. So this one is Espresso Yourself though, and I'm going to stamp it on the outer corner of my eyelid. Stamp, stamp, stamp it there. And then with the tip of the same brush, I'm going to start blending it into my crease area. Very light pressure, and I'm just moving my brush back and forth. Things are looking good. I'm going to say if I can make Espresso Yourself even deeper by building it up on the outer corner of my eye here. I'm just packing the color in place and then I'm going to start blending it upwards. And yeah, I was totally able to make it a bit more intense. I'm dying to use Lake and Bake, which is the teal shade, so I'm just gonna go for it. And I'm going to put it right in the center of my eyelid. This is a REPHR number 28 brush. And I'm going to start blending it back. I was checking to see if I had any fallout. It doesn't really look like I have much. I added a bit more of that shade onto my eyelid. And I'm not being successful at blending it into the matte, but I'll just make sure to go back and blend the two together. So I have a bit more of the Espresso Yourself shade and I'm putting it over the shimmer now so that the two shades blend nicely into one another. And I'm happy to report the teal is pigmented. And I applied it with a brush. I feel like with my finger maybe it would be even creamier, but I wanted to have precision, so I went for the brush instead of my finger. But very pigmented, as you can see. And now we're going to like lighten things up a bit with the shade Lake Como. So this one here is going to be the inner third of the eyelid. It just makes sense to go for the light blue next. Using the same REPHR number 28 brush, I just wiped it off a bit on a paper towel and I'm putting it right in the inner third of my eyelid. I do wish this shade had a bit more sparkle, but we are getting pigmented shades that are blending out nicely, so I'm happy so far. I wish it had a bit more sparkle, but I'm happy. If you can hear that, my AC just started, but I'm about to turn it off, so just bear with me for a second. All right, so this right here is the top of the first look. So let's move on to the under eye. I'm going back to Espresso Yourself, just because I believe this is the darkest shade in this palette. So with the REPHR number 3, I'm going to smudge that color right underneath my lower lash line, halfway in. And with the REPHR number 13 and the shade Toasted in Tuscany, I'm going to smoke that out and go all the way to my tear duct area and just blend, blend, blend down here. For the inner corner, I'm grabbing Mamma Mia here, which is this pinky shade on a REPHR number 2, and I'm going to place it right here. I didn't love the pink, so I took it off And I'm going back with a bit of concealer to fix it. And I think I'm going to go for the lightest color in the palette as my highlighter, which is the shade Gelato right here, and it is a matte, but I really didn't like the pink or the blue on the inner corner, so this is what I got. And this right here is the finished first look with the Italian Spritz palette. Dark and sultry and sexy and blue. I definitely want to use all of the colors that intrigue me most from this palette, so that's definitely what I did here. And before I finish it up, let's go ahead and move on to the second look, and then we'll do mascara and whatnot. I just put a blue eyeliner in my waterline. This one is from Makeup Forever. It's their artist pencil in Endless Blue. And now I'm for real going to start with the second look. The shade I'm going to grab for first is Holy Cannoli. This is a REPHR number 15 brush, and I am going to add that color to the crease of my eye. I'm just blending back and forth, and I really like the peachy undertone of this one. I thought I was going to only do 2 looks, but I think I'm going to go for 3 looks. So I'm going to then go into the color Capri Fun here, and this is a smaller blending brush, and I'm going to tap this yellow mustardy color on the outer corner of my eye and start blending it into the crease a little bit more. The only reason I made it clear that I'm going to do 3 looks is because these were not the shades I was going for look number 2, but I'm going to leave those shades for the third look instead. I just want to try as many shades as I possibly can with this palette so I can give you a good experience review having used a lot of the shades. Alright, here is that shade Blended. This shade is super creamy and I actually really like it. I think on me it looks more orange than it looks yellow, but I love it. With my same smaller blending brush, I'm going to grab the color Feeling Saucy, and I'm doing a halo eye, by the way. So I not only put the shade on the outer corner and blend it into the crease, but I also put it on the inner part of the eye and blended it into the crease. I'm doing the same thing with this one. And with the shade Take Me to Church right here, I'm going to pat the center of my eyelid. Let me grab it with my other finger, and I'm just going to put it right here in the center. There we go. And with this clean REPHR number 2, I'm going to blend the edges. I'm going to get the color Chin Chin with a REPHR number 3, and this is a bronzy shimmer shade, and I'm going to distribute it underneath my lower lash line. So just swiping it right down here carefully because I don't want it to cause a ton of fallout. And with a REPHR number 13, I'm going to grab Spaghetti About It right here, and with this shade I'm going to smoke out my shimmer. Somehow this looks the same as the top of the eyes, even though I used completely different shades. For the inner corner, I think I'm going to go with Grappa Don't Preach, which is the gold shimmer, and I'm stamping it right in the inner corner. You know what, I'm also going to put a bit of that gold right here in the center of the eyelid, mixed in with my previous shade. Make it a bit more yellow looking. Okay, yes, I actually really like that. That was a great idea. So gold all throughout the center. I'm using a bronzy eyeliner for my waterline. And before I put on any mascara or lashes, this right here is look number 2, which even though it's super warm and orange and all of that, I actually really love it. I think I love it even more than the first one. The blues were cute, but I just wanted a bit more shimmer with them. I'm not fully convinced about these blues. The formulas though, the formulas are pretty great, but I do like the overall vibe of this eye look a little bit better. You know what, I have a new mascara to try because I loved the Lash Like a Boss mascara from Essence so much in the waterproof version that I ventured to the non-waterproof version yesterday, and I'm going to try it today. I bought it yesterday at Ulta when I went to pick up the Too Faced palette, and of course the wand is the same, but I want to see if the formula gives me the same look on my lashes. So I'll report back on the non-waterproof version of the Lash Like a Boss mascara from Essence, but I'm obsessed with the first one I tried. Anyways, let me be right back with mascara on. I'm back with the Essence mascara on, and I do really love it, just like I love the waterproof version. I do think that they perform very similarly. Now, as far as transfer is concerned, I'll have to let you know in a different video, but anyways, this right here is look number 2 completed with some mascara on. and this one is the first one I did, again completed with some mascara on as well. So far I think the palette is performing great, and the only shade that I've been a little bit disappointed by is the shade Lake Como here, because look at how sparkly it looks in the pan, and then once you swatch it or put it on your eyelid like I did here, you realize it is not really that fun of a blue shade. I just wish that it was just a tad bit more sparkly than it is, but besides that, everything else I feel like it's kind of performing the way I expected it to perform. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these eye looks off, and I'm going to be back to do look number 3, which I think is going to be my favorite, but we'll see. I'm back, and look number 3 is going to be this one right here. So let's go ahead and recreate it over on this eye. I'm starting with the REPHR number 15 brush and the color Holy Cannoli, which is the peachy transition-y type shade here, and I am just going to blend this shade all throughout the crease of my eye. Just back and forth all through the crease. The next shade we're going to use is the shade When in Rome, and I'm going to start by tapping it right over the outer third of my eyelid, and I'm going to start blending it into my crease shade ever so slightly with very light pressure and little back and forth motions with my brush. I love this shade. It's pink, but it's not like a fuchsia pink. It's got a bit more warmth to it, I think, and I really like it. So I'm going to do the same thing on the inner third of my eyelid and blend that shade into the crease. We're doing a halo eye for look number 3. And then with the same brush, that is blending so easily, with the same brush, the color Mamma Mia, which is our burgundy color, and we are patting it on the outer third of the eyelid once again and blending it into the previous shade to darken up the outer half of the eye a little bit more. For the center of the eyelid, I'm going to grab the shade Ciao Bellini with my finger right here, and I'm going to tap it right in the center of my eyelid here to add a nice highlight to our halo eye, just like this. For the under eye, I'm going back to Mamma Mia with a REPHR number 3, and I'm going to blend it on the outer third of my under eye and right underneath the tear duct area as well. In the center, I'm going to use Ciao Bellini with the tip of a REPHR number 2, and I'm going to back and forth add it to the center of my under eye. And I'm also going to add that color to the inner corner right here, just tapping it with my brush. I'm going to grab a little bit of When in Rome and a little bit of Holy Cannoli and smoke out my whole lower lash line. I'm adding a pink eyeliner from Odin's Eye to my waterline. This makeup look makes me feel like I am ready for summer, so let me put on some mascara and some lashes, and I'm going to be right back to tell you my final thoughts on the Italian Spritz palette from Too Faced. Back with mascara and lashes on. My eyes are super watery, so if anything is running, totally my fault, because I wiped off looks 1 and 2 with a makeup wipe to do this one. I shouldn't have done that because my eyes have been watering ever since. But anyways, here is look number 3, which, just as I predicted, definitely my favorite with the new Too Faced palette. So let me tell you guys, and you can back away from my face a little bit. So let me tell you guys my final thoughts on this palette. As far as the formula is concerned, this one versus the previous Too Faced palette I tried and hated, which was the Better Than Chocolate palette, this Italian Spritz palette is a huge improvement. The formula in this one, miles away from this one. These shades blend beautifully. They're definitely not as powdery. They build like an absolute dream. The shimmers are creamy and you can blend them out easily. I do wish, and this is my only wish for this palette, that the shimmers had a bit more sparkle in them, but that is just me and my personal preference. As far as the formulas are concerned, I think that these are fantastic. I think Too Faced definitely stepped it up with the formula of this palette, and I definitely commend them because I've been complaining for a while that their formulas needed to be updated, and in this palette in particular, the formulas were updated and I am very pleasantly surprised and very happy about it. So if you are into colors like these, if you're into this color story, if you like the looks that I created today, I do highly recommend that you try this new Too Faced palette, because like I said, the formula in this one is much better than what they've been releasing so far. And so this is something that I do feel confident in recommending. I think that you guys are going to like it. Is it the best eyeshadow formula I've ever tried? No, it's not, okay? I definitely have tried better, but I do think that these formulas are worth the price tag. These do feel high-end and luxurious versus we were getting subpar formulas before for high-end eyeshadows, and in this case I feel like that no longer applies. So I do like the palette, I do recommend it. If you like it and you're going for it, please shop using the link I'm leaving you down below in the description box. I am obsessed with this eyeshadow look right here. This was definitely my favorite I did today, and overall, yes, I like this palette. They have redeemed themselves a little bit from their past failures. Alright, if you guys liked today's video, don't forget to please give it a thumbs up. Before you leave, don't forget to please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I love you guys so much. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you back in the next one. Bye. I don't know if anyone wanted to see a comparison of the color stories, but here they are side by side. This one is definitely much more springy and much more fun.